Okay, so a pastor is out for a stroll on a nice autumn afternoon when he sees a small child on the front porch of a house struggling to reach a doorbell. He just was not tall enough. Wanting to be helpful, the pastor lifts the small child so he could press the button, which he did, rang the bell, then he set the child down and said, "Now what?" And the child said, "Now we run like hell." Such is the way of sin. You get pulled into it even with the best of intentions. Is it not written elsewhere? All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So there can be no boasting, which is what one of the characters in Jesus' parable is doing, the one you can hear bragging about his humility, the one who begins his prayer by saying, "God, I thank you that I am not like other people." And by other people, he means the second man in this parable, a despised tax collector, a collaborator, a Jew who worked for Rome and took plenty of the tax money for himself. He stands there beating his breast, acknowledging that he has sinned in thought, word, and deed. Indeed. If forced to whittle down Lutheran theology to two words, it would be these two: both and not either or. For instance, we confess that God is both one and three, not either or. That Jesus is both human and divine, not one or the other. That as human creatures, we are nevertheless stamped with the image of God. We are both saints, made right with God through Christ's death and resurrection, and sinners, still broken, still becoming, always growing in our need for grace. Sinner saints, saints who are sinners, both at once. So it's hard to tell one from the other. All the saintly stuff can actually be sinful, and even the sinful stuff can become a path of grace. Go figure. Now, I know no one likes to talk about it. Sin has gotten a bad reputation of late, and it's time to call the beast out for what it is. Yes, it's all the things we do wrong or fail to do right. Basic stuff we can all control, mostly murder, theft, adultery. I would be bearing false witness if I did not mention that truth-telling is becoming a rare commodity. But sin is more than this. Sin is our deep down denial of being the human beings God made us to be. It is what gets in the way of my joy in the presence of others. It is disconnection, disharmony. Sin tells me to quit when I should press on. It tells me to press on when I should quit. It is apathy, an infectious carelessness that leaves me empty and hungry. So today we give the devil his due, so to speak. We have seen the enemy, and he is us, said Pogo from the comic strips. We are a hot mess, according to preacher Deb Thomas, made in God's divine image, but mired in a human brokenness that wars against its own salvation. The word sinner is far more closer to the mark than merely "I screwed up" or "I came from a dysfunctional family." Here's a question with which every congregation need wrestle. Is this a safe place for a sinner? And by that I mean, are our faith communities places where people can safely share their messy lives? When I was a kid, the number one reason my parents would not attend church was because they didn't want people knowing their business, also known as messy lives. Longtime Christians perhaps should listen up. You know, it is possible to put on a good show, religiously speaking, and still walk away unjustified. It is possible to allow our piety itself to deaden us to God's Spirit, writes Pastor Thomas. It is possible to practice an outward beautiful Christianity that is pedestrian and pointless in the eyes of Christ. Of course, we do not know if the tax collector in the parable went on to quit his job with the Romans and return his ill-gotten gains. Or will he be back again next week, filled with remorse over this life he has chosen, and now an existence within which he is trapped? We never know if the tax collector ever merits God's grace, which is the whole point, huh? Such lavish love can never be earned, only received with empty hands and open hearts.